Hello, good morning. Good morning, ladies. Good morning, everybody. Those watching us online and audio. Today is another episode of beautiful, outstanding Ladies with Disability, Bold TV, where we talk about disabilities and issues related to disabilities. This program is being powered by Bold Heart Initiative. In case you want to know more about the program, or you want to participate, or you want to support us by subscribing, you call on the 5 anchor ladies. We have Freki, we have Afyong, we have Beyonce, Tomisi, and I, Osaki. And as for today's topic, is very crucial and interesting one. And the topic is sexual health. We are having this episode in commemoration of World Sexual Health Day, which comes up every year, 4th September. So that's why we take today on so special. And as we are going to go deeply, I'm going to tell the women in the house to introduce themselves by way of name, occupation, location, and type of disability. And I'll start with myself. I'm Osaki Teresa Georgie. I reside in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. I work with Fair Care Foundation and also other things I like to do that are not much. And my type of disability is polio survival. And I'm so glad to host you for today. So I'll call by name so that you can introduce yourself. So I'd like my next person to introduce herself be Freki. Freki, please introduce yourself.
All right, hi everyone. My name is Freki Andresian. I'm a member of Bold Heart Initiative. I'm also the executive director of Fair Care Foundation. I use a wheelchair from spinal cord injury, and I'm based in Port Harcourt in Rivers State. So welcome to another episode of Bold TV.
Thank you. Beyonce, please introduce yourself.
Good morning. My name is Beyonce Falade. I am the Executive Director, Angel Wings Global Freedom Foundation. I'm also the author of the wonderful book, Mimi the Warrior Girl. Thank you.
Okay, Beyonce, I didn't get your type of disability and your location. Thank you.
I live in Ibadan and I use a wheelchair. Thank you.
Thank you, Beyonce. Treasure, please tell us, introduce yourself.
Okay, hello, bold-hearted women. My name is Treasure Suchegbu. I am a development consultant, particularly in areas of the UN commemoration on gender, on disability, as well as on the SDGs. I work more among the deaf. I run a leadership and life skill program for deaf teenagers. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much. Location, I live in Ogun State, but I work in Lagos. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Treasure. You're welcome. Afyong, please introduce yourself.
Okay, hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Afyong Item. I'm a medical lab scientist. I'm based in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, a member of Bold Heart Network, public health professional, and it's good to be here.
Thank you very much. So we all introduce ourselves, and today's topic is a very crucial one and a very interesting one. It's on sexual health. You know, sexual health, sex is something that everybody wants to take part or enjoy, but now we want to circulate into the health basis. So I would like to read from my write-up, which I have here. It says, sexual health requires a positive and respectful approach. You know, it's something that you just do somehow carelessly. But now we're telling you that it needs to be in a positive direction, a respectful approach to sexuality and sexual relationships. So it's not just fun fair, but the other part of your life, your well-being, as well as the possibility of having pleasurable and safe sexual experience, free coherence, discrimination and violence. So all of this should not be in the act of you trying to have sex. So that's why we're trying to check the health value when it comes to sexuality. So I like the other ladies in the house to throw in their own quarter of sexual health, of their own understanding. Afyong, Piodia, please help me out.
Okay, sexual health has to do with if you're looking at it from the angle of rights and in the angle of human rights, it refers to one's right to enjoy sexual activity, to express one's sexuality, and without, being shamed for it, without being coerced, without, being excluded on the basis of one's sexuality, and not being treated as an, asexual being, recognizing one's sexuality and being able to express it freely.
Treasure, please let's have more rapport concerning sexual health.
Okay.
So,
in support of all you have said, sexual health is all we have said so far, then inclusive of the fact that it doesn't know, despite the creed, your religion, that's your spirituality, and it's coming from the place of awareness so that you could express yourself and not be apologetic about how you express yourself. So it's an ongoing knowledge. And then there's this part we often not talk about. Yes, we've talked about the physical, the emotional, the relational, but what about the economics of sexual health? The fact that our sexual well-being also reaches out or affects the bottom line of the economy. So that's for me, I just added that, yes, we want to express ourselves, but it's also looking at the broader picture. Thank you very much.
thank you, Treasurer. The economic value is what is very necessary. It's true. Because you can't just say you want to have sex and you're hungry or you're not comfortable with it. So, Frankie, please throw more light on sexual health. Thank you very much, Afion.
All right, thank you very much. Sorry, I had to respond to something. So I do not know what has been said earlier, but I know that with respect to sexual health, we defined it as a possible respectful approach to positive and a respectful approach to sexuality. And I think those two keywords are very important, especially for women and girls with disabilities, to understand that sexual health needs to come from a positive place and it has to be respectful in approach. So what that means for us is that it doesn't, it removes coercion and it allows you to be able to consent to having sex, sexual relationship, and even expressing your sexuality free of coercion, and also being responsible for your sexual health. That is reducing risk factors that may expose you to sexual infections and diseases. So for me, the two key words that we should note, would be that positive and respectful approach. Because when you see that your sexuality or your approach to sexuality or that your sexual relationships are not positive or respectful, and you can begin to see that your sexual health is not at its best. So I would stop there. But I just want to add that no matter how we ignore it, it is fundamental to general health and one's happiness. Very fundamental. Sexuality is a key aspect of life. And even though people see women with disabilities as largely asexual, it does not eliminate the fact that our sexual health is important and essential for general health. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Frank, for that robust answering of sexual health, which is true, should be positive and respectful, because the sexual health is very, very important and it's part of pleasure. So we all need to enjoy, but in a respectful way, no matter how it looks like. So the next question goes to how important, why is sexual health important for us to know, especially women with disability? Why do you have to know the importance of sexual health? Why should you have to know sexual health? So a lot of things is going to throw up, like repeating what we've already said, like your mental well-being. So if you know that you have an idea of a sexual health, the importance, it gives you a mental well-being of, you have sense of belonging, free of hair, you're not combined with so many things in your mind, but it's like a release of tension and you're relaxed, and also it's reduced from it's the common diseases, and also it helps in enhancing intimate relationship, whereby you can tell somebody, this is how I want you to touch me, this is how I want you to do it, don't push it, don't force it, this, I'm ready, I'm not ready, you know, all of that is going to be discussed when it comes to sexual health. So I like in the house I would like Afia to tell me all of the importance of sexual health. Like I just said now, it helps in enhancing intimate relationship. So Afia, please, on to you.
Sexual health, it also, we talked about the rights, we've talked about, I think most of what we said has to do with human rights. And one of the things one of the other areas is access, because sexual health also includes access to health care, reproductive health care. It includes access to education and, resources that can help you express your sexuality the way you should. So one importance of it is that, first and foremost, it removes the pressure and the negative influence of stereotypes, especially for women with disabilities, where your gender and disability is a double disadvantage, where you're told that as a woman, you have no business being expressive about your sexuality. You're seen, the society portrays you as a tool or as an object for pleasure. It's almost like you don't have a say, you're not supposed to contribute to the experience. There are cases in relationships where the woman is only supposed to respond. More often than not, the woman is expected to respond to the sexual needs of the man. She is not expected or given room to express her own needs. So, it's important for a woman to know that, number one, she is well within her rights, she has needs, and that she is well within her rights to express those needs, to, acknowledge them and express them freely without fear of condemnation. And also, it also helps, we all know that, scientifically, sex, the act itself, and the thought of it, especially with, when you're in a committed relationship where you are free to express yourself, can boost even the physical health, because certain hormones are released that can help to boost physical and mental health. And another thing is also that, another importance is that when a woman is aware of her sexual health, she knows where to get help, and she's given access. She knows where to get help when she needs it. She's not afraid to speak up and ask for help in that area. More times women go to the hospital and they're afraid to open their mouth and say, oh, I don't know what to do about this, I need help in this area. And so many women have a lot of reproductive health issues that they are not able to express. So when you're aware of your sexual health and your rights surrounding it, you are able to get help when you need it. And it minimizes a lot of, morbidity and mortality surrounding that particular issue. I think I'll stop there for now.
Thank you very much. Amazing. Thank you. You're stopping. You have to say, oh, that's interesting. Beyonce, if you're there, please put your own quarter when it comes to importance of sexual health.
Thank you very much. It also helps women to understand sexual health, also helps women to understand how things are working in their bodies, how their organs, that their fallopian tubes, how their period is, how everything is, if it's okay, if they have any ailments in their body, and if there's anything that it gives attention to what is going on in their body, and helps them to know what to do about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Beyonce. It helps to let us know more about our body, how it moves and how it goes. Frank, if you're there, if you have anything to add up, you can also add, please.
Okay, thank you very much. So considering the importance of sexual health for women with disabilities, before I go into, the sexual health rights, I just want to mention that it's very important for a woman with disability to understand that sexual health ensures that she's able to choose whether to have or engage in a sexual activity, It also ensures that a woman with disability is able to decide when she wants to engage in a sexual activity and with whom she wants to engage in non-sexual activity. And like Afion rightly said, a lot of times women with disabilities, we don't think that we can make demands when it comes to sex, or when it can make commitments to improving our sexual health. The other thing that I have seen, within the disability cluster, especially women and girls with disabilities, is that for some reason, we do not feel responsible for our sexual health. We tend to think that disability is an excuse to not reduce predisposing risk factors to sexually transmitted infections and diseases. And so we engage in sexual activities without proper protection, and we expose ourselves to health factors associated with carrying out risky and having risky sexual behaviors. It's important for women with disabilities to understand their sexual health rights, and it's being documented. We've had so many trainings on this, and understanding a woman's sexual health rights, according to the Universal Declaration of Sexual Rights, helps. There's so many, but just to put out a few, that you have a right to sexual pleasure, you have a right to emotional sexual expression, you have a right to sexual autonomy and integrity, and the safety of your body, especially your sexual body. It's time for women with disabilities to understand that your sexual health is primarily your responsibility. And why is this important? It means that it must translate from adolescent to womanhood. So you do not wait for a young girl with disability to get information about her sexual health from outside and everywhere that is not correct. Because if she's not aware and she engages in risky sexual behavior, the consequences thereof will be her lot. So sexual health is important for women with disabilities because we're able to protect ourselves. We're able to guard ourselves from HIV, unplanned pregnancies. We're able to take care of our sexual bodies, as it were. So it's very important. And disability does not eliminate, or I don't know, does not eliminate us from taking that responsibility. I just really need to put that out there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Amazing. I know somebody out there is watching. Disability is an excuse. So you just have to just know that as long as you're a human being, you need to just know about your sexual. It's very, very important. It's your life. It's something that you have, the way you breathe, the way you take your bath, that's how you need to know about this thing, because one way or the other, you might partake in it, and you just have to know more deeply. So still on that, because somebody is watching, Treasure, I don't know if you want to add up, because we're all women. I'm trying to see how important this thing is to us.
Thank you so much. I've been absorbing. For me, I'll just, I like talking from the place of experience. A while ago, some years back, I used to function as an HIV counselor tester before I grew to become a master trainer. And why did I decide to run the life skill program for deaf teenagers? I tested the deaf on the field whose results came out HIV positive. And seeing a positive client is not like a big deal. However, I looked at her and I could tell that she didn't have the requisite assertive skill to probably say no or provide options of safer sex practices to whoever her partner was. There and then I didn't communicate to her through sign language. So, and well, they say the rest is history. I committed to go and learn sign language, and I decided to deploy my sign language skill in providing life skills for deaf teenagers to be aware, because when you're in the place, people know better. People act better when they know better. So, and that way, skills can be built. So the very importance, like we are discussing, of sexual persons with disability, or women or girls with disability, understanding their sexual health. The importance is that they are aware. They are aware when to take certain decisions and they are responsible, which is most of the things that came out of the past discussions here with they are also they take personal responsibility to protect themselves. So if I provide those skills using a language that they understand, making it accessible, that way the decision and the responsibility to take that decision falls on that deaf young person, than allowing a lot of them. In fact, one of the war I had was the first school I was going to deploy the Life Work Ready program. I was so, no, don't talk about sex here. Don't, because the first thing I did, my first lecture is always on first self-awareness. And I said, oh, if you're aware of yourself, you are able to take decision on who to marry. The moment one of the teachers in the school saw who to marry, he said, no, don't discuss it. You don't discuss this here. It will make them begin to think, and I knew we were in trouble. So, that is that important. Parents don't want to talk about it. One, they might not even have the skills, or they feel that their children or their teenagers or young girls do not, no, it's too complicated. So you have a lot of them being sexually abused, for not to even talking about identifying themselves in a particular or knowing their sexual orientation. So it's very key. It's very, very important, so that take responsibility, but most importantly, live life optimally. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Treasure. That's a very good contribution. So while we're still on a discussion on sex, on sexuality, sexual health, we've talked about the importance, we've created the awareness. Now let's discuss on how do women and girls maintain sexual health? Because in this thing that, yeah, now you've known it, you heard the importance, you've heard about it, but now, how do you personally maintain it that you don't fall prey, you don't get into trouble and all the rest? So I would like this to go around us again so that we can just have tips on it. Beyonce, if you're there, please help us out on how women and girls can maintain a sexual health.
Well, the first thing I'll say is that they need to talk to a gynecologist, first and foremost, who can guide them on things that they need to do, whether as a teenager, what they need to learn. First of all, even if it's going to be from their parents, their mother needs to talk about sexual education at first with their daughters and their sons equally, because it's important if they both know what it's all about. So everyone is aware. And I believe that as a teenager, you should be able to see a gynecologist to tell you things that your parents may not be able to tell you, no matter what your disability is. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Abiyose. Talk about speak to somebody, either your guardian or your parents. And also, I'd like to talk into as a teenager or as a woman with disability or whoever. I think people right now are into what we call, they like the enjoyment style, like the drinking style. So I like us, like, if you're going to drink responsibly, but please try and see whoever is involved, try and see they can reduce the alcohol intake, so it don't look like you're under influence of alcohol and you didn't take notice or consideration of your sexual health. Afyon, please throw more light on that. Still on how do women and girls maintain their sexual health?
It will depend on the age of the woman, if it's a woman or a girl, because if it's still a child under the age of 18 who is under the guardianship of an adult, the child cannot take themselves to see a professional. It is the responsibility of the adult who has been given the charge of taking charge of that child. So whether parents like it or not, you need to have that conversation with your child. So it starts from the family unit. Before you go to hospital, it starts from the family unit. The first gynecologist your child will ever know will be you. If it's a girl, your mother will be the first person that will tell you about, your reproductive health, the parts of your body and what they represent, what they are capable of, their functions, and whatever impact sex can have when you engage in it. So your mother for a girl will be your first role model in that area, your first teacher. So parents, if you don't know how to say it, there are resources available. Get resources so that to guide you on how, age-appropriate content, age-appropriate sex education for your children, especially your girls. And for a parent with a girl with a disability, you may need additional help. You may need to talk to someone who is a specialist in that area, somebody who can guide you on how to raise, how to teach her, taking into consideration her peculiarities. Because for a girl with disability, there is a mental health aspect. She already does not even see herself as someone who is capable of experiencing sexual pleasure. She has discounted herself, written herself out. When they mention, women, she probably doesn't even see herself as a sexually desirable being. So you will have to start from that point to work on her before you even go to the physical aspects. Because for her, the possibility of being taken advantage of is higher. Because if she does, she's not self-aware, she does not see herself as desirable, she does not see herself as someone who is worthy of receiving love and of being physically desired, depending on her disability, she is more likely to be taken advantage of. Because by the time someone comes out and says what she wants to hear, that she probably has not heard from her family, from those she looks up to, she is more likely to give in and be taken advantage of, because there are many predators out there. And the person will be like, oh, you're a fine girl. I don't know, has anybody ever told you? And she's like, she's never heard it before. So it's easy for the person to groom her and take advantage of her. So it has to start from the home. It has to start from the family unit. The parents have to learn how. I know it's not the easiest thing to do, but they have to learn how to do it. There are resources, you can get help. And for the woman with a disability, maybe for those of us who started this disability journey, in the course of life, we were not born with it. We also owe it to ourselves. It also starts from the mental space. Maybe before then you had a fleet of admirers, and then all of a sudden you find yourself in this state and you're like, nobody's even saying hello. You will have to start from your mind, working on what's going on in there, clear up that space before you now see that, look, the body may have been altered, but you're still you. It's not about how you look so much, but about who you are inside. Is what you are inside that, influences what somebody sees on the outside. So you will also have to get information. Talk to people who have walked this journey ahead of you. That's where mentorship comes in. That's where community comes in. Find a tribe of like-minded people, people with similar conditions who have walked it and who probably are in, happy, committed relationships, who can give you, advice and tell you that, look, this is how it is. It's possible. So you need to focus on the positives and, try to see how you can move forward from where you are, because it's like starting afresh. So that for me, everything starts with the mind, both as children, for children, and for adults. And then we go on from there, but get help, get information.
Interesting, Afshong. That's a very good contribution. Treasurer, if you're there, please help us with your own contribution.
Thank you so very much, Afi, for that contribution. Yes, it starts first with the mind, and then the most beautiful is, I'm also very heavy with the place of mentorship. So for older women with disability, being that safe space, creating that safe space to also be open to discussing with the younger ones with disability. Then for the families, strengthening with disability, and getting positive affirmation first after on people trained, yes, like their tools to be able to teach this, and there are people willing. So creating safe spaces for this conversation to start, and to be an ongoing conversation, and also journeying with their children if they are parents, and just enjoy the ride like you would read to get a job or a career. It's also good that enough resources should be read by women and girls with disability. Ask questions when in doubt, and be willing to explore, not what's in a safe, by practicing safer sex, not that you want to explore and you go haywire and are just going around doing all manner of testing, because sometimes at the place of youth, we shouldn't even forget that ambition.
Okay. Oh, thank you very much. I believe that all the past responders have spoken in details about self-awareness, being self-aware, understanding that you have the power to give consent or not when it comes to sex. I think another thing that can happen is within the family unit, is whether you discuss it or not. Let me just put it out there. That information will come. And it's better that it comes from the right source as opposed to from peers who also do not know anything. Because I see that that's what happens when it comes to young persons, especially adolescents. They're very curious. And so they get a lot of wrong information from their peers and from the internet and from different places. So you may want to bridge that gap. Giving information doesn't mean that automatically you're going to make the person a bad person, but you're arming her with the information that she needs to be able to negotiate safer sex. Because I repeat, being a woman with disability does not negate or does not excuse you or a person who has practices sex that is not right or engage in sexual activities that predisposes the person to unplanned pregnancies and HIV and all of that. So being armed with information and giving the correct information early is essential. And that is why we ask within schools where programs are being run, different clubs, all sorts of clubs that in special schools and inclusive schools don't exclude the child or the teen or the youth with disability. I gave an instance one time when I was doing a training that a woman who did not think that her daughter, who had a mental impairment, who had intellectual disability, needed sexual information because she was always in the house. So the mother didn't think that when she started seeing her menses, there should be information that if uncle does like this and does like this, and and you don't protect yourself, you can become mommy. So she was inside the house, and the mother was just in a bubble. And right inside her house, her little daughter became mommy and pregnant. And she was shouting and lamenting. And everybody say, why are you shouting and lamenting? It's inside your house right there. And guess who was the culprit? One uncle who used to come and bring sweets. So that information, denial of that information did not arm the young girl with enough information to be able to consent to or not, or negotiate safer sex, as it were. Another thing that women with disabilities can do, I think honesty is key. A lot of women with disabilities are not honest about their sexual health. And that includes the older ones. And what happens is that because they are not honest about what they've been through or what they experience, they are not in good positions to mentor younger people. So we see a lot of women with disabilities who shy away because they themselves have not worked on their sexual health per se, giving it, ensuring that it is positive, ensuring that it is respectful. So it's never too late to begin to put your affairs in order. Trust me, mentally, imagine if you have an intimate partner who is sexually violent, you cannot do much with your life because it ends up being a case of depression where sex is forced or it is coerced from you. There's a lot that comes with it, a lot of mental issues that come with it. So let us know, what's happening, and just to put out there that there are tools, that have been put together to really educate, bring about comprehensive sexual health for young persons and for women and girls with disabilities. So that is all actually available, for tutors and educators out there, and even advocates of positive sexual health. So I'll stop there. Women with disabilities, please, let's take our sexual health really important and own it. Like it's your decision, it's your sexual health. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We've said a lot here. This last one will just be like an advice or a take home for every woman with disability or every woman out there on what you should do when it comes to sexual health. How important, what is the general advice from all of us so that we can end up this episode for today? Beyonce, give us your own advice.
Okay, thank you, Osaki. Well, my own advice and my own take home for young women with disability is own who you are as a woman and understand who you are as a woman. Don't shy away from it. Don't think that you are less of a human being because you're a woman. No, you are more than that. You are in fact much more powerful than you know. So own your womanhood, understand it, and know that because of you being a woman, you can do virtually anything and everything with your life. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Beyonce. Treasure, please tell us your own advice, your final
Wow,
advice.
wow. Thank you so much. I want to say that as a person, you are valued, you are enough. You are enough. You're enough. Whether as a woman with a disability or not, as a girl with a disability, you are enough. And I would like to say that it's a journey. It's a journey. So be willing to take that journey. Take the driver's seat, sit down there and watch and explore. Be willing to take the journey, but don't take it ignorantly. Take it from the place of knowledge, take it from the place of guidance, take it from the place of understanding who you are. And like Afi mentioned, it is sexuality will always happen to every one of us. So I want to say, I'm sure Bold Hearts is a good platform for that mentorship to begin to take place, where responsible women can also mentor younger ones. So let them log in, follow Bold Hearts TV and see the things that you are doing, learn, and use the tools and resources that are available that you share. And I know that it's just the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Treasure. After your back.
Okay, so like I said, sexual desires, sexual urges, regardless of how your body looks, what your body looks like, and what's going on in your mind, those will always be there. So rather than ignore them because you can't be in denial forever, it is best to acknowledge it, get information, find out. Sometimes people wonder, is it normal? Find out, get information, talk to someone who can give you the right information. Why do I feel this way? What do I do about it? Find out if I find myself in a relationship, how do I negotiate or navigate sexual issues so that you don't get in there and then find yourself at a disadvantage where you're on the wrong end of the negotiating table and you don't even have the tools to do so, and somebody takes advantage of you. So own it. When you deny it, it will not go away. It will still be there, but you will be the one who will lose out. So own it, acknowledge it, then know that you can choose to engage or not to. It's a choice. Just because you see yourself as a sexual being and you acknowledge those desires does not mean you must do something about it. Doing something about it can be choosing not to engage in sexual activity until whenever you're ready. But just know that you have that right so that you are not taken advantage of and you don't lose out in the end. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Frankie, your last advice.
All right, my lady who is listening to me, you're beautiful and you're worthy of every positive sexual experience. So one of the things that you can begin to do, because I tell people that the disabling process is different for different people. So you may want to begin to discover what your sexuality is, because you don't want somebody else to come and imprint on you or insist on what your sexuality or your sexual behavior is like. So you may want to begin to discover your triggers so that you avoid situations that can expose you to risk. So if you find that somebody touches your neck, it's very exciting, Don't allow people to touch your neck. Like me, don't come near my neck. I will slap you. So you may want to learn some of those practical things so that people do not take advantage of you. You also do not also want somebody to touch you anyhow because the person is trying to be overly friendly. You don't entertain those things because if you give somebody a handshake, they will put their hand inside your armpit or their hand inside your eye. The truth of the matter is that sexual health concerns are real also for women and girls with disabilities. So issues like cancers of the reproductive health or sexually transmitted infections like all them gonorrhea and syphilis and all the whole line of, including HIV and AIDS, are real concerns that also affect women and girls with disabilities. So you want to be able to protect yourself from sexual reproductive health concerns or sexual health concerns. And then if you find that your sexual health is not as it were, maybe this how it was before, especially for people like us who, had disability later in life, you may want to engage with a sex therapist or a gynecologist to begin to discover what you can do to enable your sexual health or your sexual life. I'll give an instance. There was a young man who found out that he had erectile dysfunction or he couldn't get it up himself. And what happened was that he stayed away from sexual activities. And he was somebody who wanted to get married and have children. But he didn't think it was possible because he couldn't get, his organ up by himself. So somebody just referred him and said, this person helped me. And he went and he had a robust conversation. In fact, when he now found out that there were things that could help him, different ways to stimulate. In fact, it was not like people had to beg him, oh God, don't do too much. You are now your own. So he was not trying to make up for lost time. So so
the case of knowledge is power.
You became a terror. So you may want to seek, for real, health advice if you have, those deep concerns. And then finally, watch out for stereotypes when it comes to sexual health of women and girls with disabilities. A lot of negative stereotypes associated. So if somebody with a disability comes to treat STI, they're looking at you like, and then, and you're like, yes, this happened, and I want to treat myself. If somebody with a disability has HIV, the thought is that, what happened? Irrespective of how it came, so there are negative prevailing stereotypes, largely that women and girls with disabilities are asexual and do not participate in sexual activities. You and I know that it's not true. It's not true. It's not true. So you want to watch out for things like that, attitudinal barriers, when people show attitude, or a guy thinks he's doing you a favor by offering you sex, or tells you things like, are you not even happy that I'm finding you attractive? I'm like, guy, I'm a fine girl. Yeah, do you understand? So you need to really work on your self-esteem and self-confidence. So somebody does not come and offer sex as a reward. Nah, let's not do that. And then you also want to watch, Madam Treasure talked about economic barriers. That's one of the things that leads a lot of women and girls with disabilities to falling prey because they're not economically empowered. And then somebody comes and dangle carrots and then they fall victim. So many stories to tell in time. So you may want to watch out and not allow anybody to use economics as, exposing you to negative sexual health. And lastly, get knowledge. It's a lot of knowledge. Mama has said, bold hearts, fake care. So many organizations will continue to have SRH trainings and seminars. Participate, know what's up, so that I can learn the skills. There's something like negotiation skills. So negotiating for safer sex, you can it's actually a skill you can learn. I wish I could tell a story of something that happened to me very recently. Where I had to walk out and dodge. That kind of thing. But well, so yes, and I dodged because I use the power of negotiation to tell that person that don't tick me off, don't want to make me on your checklist. I am not going to be on your checklist of I have done this with a woman on wheelchair. It never happen. I am not that girl. So we are here for you. You can always reach out all the time. Thank you very much. Long last word, but yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. We've said so much. We've talked. In my own last words, I would just say, don't get carried away. No matter how the love looks like, be conscious. Take your sexual health serious because in the act of love, sex will come in. But be sure, just be mind conscious of after this what next. Don't just carry with I'm enjoying myself or is loving me or you're using the sex as a reward. No. So I think we've talked a lot of things, and somebody out there is listening, and even we were listening too, because we're all learn from each other every now and then whenever we're on this program. So a way of ending the program for today, we say this program comes to us every Saturday, 10:30 a.m. The program is empowered by Bold Heart Initiative. And if you want to support us and you enjoy this program and you like this program, please call on Afyong, Freki, Tomisi, Beyonce, and I. So please, when you see our program, our video, please go to our YouTube channel, our Facebook and network, share, comment, share, post as much as you can so that our gospel will be spread. Thank you very much. So I like the women in the house. So I'll mute their mic and just say something.
Bye.
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 Thanks, women.
Okay, something. You said we should say something. So something.
Yeah.
Sexual health is
All
life.
right. So
Frankie,
happy World Sexual Health Day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.